KNOX Goes Away. Please welcome the star, director, producer, Micheal Keaton.
Hold on a minute. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'll electrocute all of us. Hold on.
All right.
Coming.
Yeah. Look at that packed house here open night. Very cool. Congratulations on this movie.
Thank you.
Believe it or not, I read somewhere you shot this all in 25 days?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think they came in just under 25. I don't know. I like to try. I did another movie I did. I bragged. I came in like a half day early just so I could say, yeah, beat the schedule.
All that experience of making movies for other directors, you probably learn a lot in doing that.
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah, sure. You just, if you hang around and you have a pulse and you can pay attention to what's going on around you, you can't help but just through osmosis, learn something.
So how did this script come to you? How did this come into your life? It's written by Gregory Poirier.
Yeah, I don't know if Greg's here, but he's, I saw this script come from the producer, Michael Sugar. He produced Spotlight.
Right.
And he had laid this on me, I think, either during that or right after. And it's kind of, I read it pretty quickly actually, because anyone will tell you who's done this, so they're rare. They don't come around very often, or just even just a good solid script.
Right.
So I read it and I thought, wow, this is really good writing. And I don't know what happened after that. I thought about it, and Michael was doing other things, and I went off and did a movie, and then I came back, and it kind of sat. People always say it sat on my desk. It probably literally sat. Literally on my desk for a while. And I went and did another movie, and then I'd read it again and think about it, and eventually, Michael said, hey, in fairness to this guy, Greg, you got to either cut it loose or do it, And I thought about it. It came to me as an actor, actually. And then but in the back of my head, I thought, I think I know how to tell this story. So finally, it was just a case of the schedule opened up, and I said, yeah, let's do this, but I want to direct it. And he said that was fine. Sorry, my phone was going off right on my crotch, by the way. Better tune. Yeah, better tune and be more pleasant.
So this is the second feature film you've directed.
Yes.
And why did you decide you wanted to direct it?
And how weird is it that it was the same, a contract killer again. I don't know why this is making noise. Let's just get rid of this thing. It's a pain in the ass. Hold on. Here, take it. It's how weird is that the other, I played a contract killer in the other thing too. People think, well, I guess that's his thing. It's not. and had this not been really well written, obviously, I would have said, no, I'll just wait for the next thing or go pursue another script somewhere.
Well, it is a contract killer, and I've seen a lot of movies about contract killers and things, but this is so
not a contract.
This is so much more than that, and that it's fascinating that he happens to be one for the story you're telling here. Right?
Yeah, right. That's the way to look at it. Actually, the opposite way you go, because really it's the story. The guy that. Yeah. But I had zero interest in trying to make what people call hitman movies, because I can't make them. I couldn't do better than people have done them in the past, and I actually don't have an interest in them at all. Sure, other actors will say the same thing. Look, in a way, if you're the lead or co-lead, well, no, really, if you're the lead, you already are going to set the tone regardless, to some degree, right? Unless you're in something with some director that's so much larger than you, and you're just a piece of it. But if you're the guy driving the story, well, then you're going to set the tone regardless of who's, it doesn't matter who's directing it to a certain point. So the advantage is, A, you save yourself a lot of time, and you set the tone. You set the tone of here's the rhythm of it, here's the pace of it. here's the vibe, you know, and like that. So there's a big advantage. Now, I direct myself again for all those reasons. Time saver, and also as you're acting, you're kind of directing. You know what I mean? And you see the story, and you know where your cuts are. But what I wouldn't do is this is a complex person going through a complex thing in a pretty complex movie.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't do again.
No,
I wouldn't. I'd play myself. I'd play a lead again, or a big role again. Direct myself. I don't worry about that. But this was really hard. It's been in print, and you may have even. It was a Jenga movie. You know the game Jenga.
Yeah.
From the beginning, I said I kept reading it over and over again. I said, well, if a piece is out of place, the whole thing, you don't even shoot it. It won't work. You know.
The whole souffle falls.
Yes.
That's what was so fascinating watching it, and I just caught the last 5 minutes again, and I go like, this is so perfect. Every piece comes into place just on that level,
Yeah.
which is not easy to do. I don't know if it was all like written A, B, C, D in the script like that, or you made some of it in editing.
Yes. Raise your hand. Come on.
Oh, this is your editor.
Yeah. I am.
Shout out.
Here's the problem.
I mean, amazing.
No, here's the problem. Now people know what she looks like. They're gonna steal her. Yeah. No, just there were things. I'm pretty good in the editing room, you know, because first of all, I already cut in my head. I kind of go, I know where the cuts are, and I know kind of generally. Yeah. But she did stuff. I swear to you, I've said it before. I'm not saying it because she's here. There was stuff. Well, this is embarrassing. There was stuff I'd show up and just, you know, go in the editing room. She'd say, I put some stuff together. I took your notes. You know, what do you think of this? Blah blah blah. Okay, I'll swing by and I'll look. I'll see you about 2. Whatever. You get in there and you go, oh yeah, that works. And she goes, you know, that wasn't there before. And I like to think I'm pretty good at this. And I go, wait a minute, what did you do? And then she'd show me stuff I would have never thought of, stuff I never would have. And this is a complex story to tell. And honestly, to be honest with you, I'm a little nuts. As I was sitting up there watching this, even now I'm going, oh, shoot, man, I should have clipped it right there. Should have clipped that right there. And I'll keep on doing it. I know it's a whole other conversation. The pace, I think, is right. But, well, if you saw the movie I did before, I was kind of forced into that, at least in my head, I was forced into that rhythm, you know, because there was a spare, okay script. But it was about loneliness and people being insular, and to some degree, that's the case in this story. There are some similarities, but even this, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, ooh, yeah, I see a music cue. I'm wrong there. That should have come in about 8 seconds earlier. And it's endless. I don't know if most people are like that, but I am. You know, you kind of keep picking at it.
And well, Ridley Scott did that on Blade Runner 4 times. You know? He released
that's right.
4 different directors.
Yeah.
Sometimes directors are just never finished.
And you know, those guys, they have the luxury of that. They're big famous guys who've been extremely commercially successful. Right. So if he says, you know what, I want to do it, somebody will do it for him, you know. We were lean and mean in this thing, you know.
Which is amazing. Now, did you do a lot of research into dementia and this form of dementia that was chosen for this character?
No, because I wasn't going to make it unless I knew this was a real thing, and I figured if you wrote it, it's a real thing. So the first thing I did was said, okay, tell me about this, you know. And he said, no, this is how it works. And so I thought, okay, well, at least this is a legitimate story. And then I read about it, and I read a lot about dementia, but at some point, I don't care. It's not like it'd be one thing to say, well, I'm playing an automobile mechanic, you know, you go, okay, well, in these scenes, I should really know what I'm doing under the hood, and that's easy. Call a couple, make some connections, spend a lot of time doing that, you know. What do you do with this? You know what I mean? Yeah. Except ask all the questions and read about it and then go, I don't know. you know, I think it's this, I think it's, I probably thought about myself and thought, you know, you may not have the disease, but you sure have some fucking symptoms. so sometimes I thought, yeah, it's not really a stretch for me. I'm pretty forgetful.
Well, it's so interesting to me because this is a guy running out of time,
Yeah.
who knows he's running out of time.
Yeah.
And how does he try to do one good thing or good things in his life?
You know what I was talking the other day, somebody was interviewing me about this, and I was thinking about it, and the thing I didn't think about was, it's a redemption story, it's a ticking clock movie, it's a lot of those things. But this thing gets handed to him, gets dropped in his lap. This opportunity to do a solid, you know, to do, you know what I mean? I don't think I ever thought of it exactly like that, you know, that he's living his life, and how about the irony of this chance to fix something that otherwise wouldn't have happened. He would have had this condition and he would have died, and the life would have gone on, and, you know, however all this works, you know, this thing comes to him, it gives him, even him, sinner, right? If you look at it like that. A chance, you know.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot in this movie, actually, and when somebody says you got X amount of money and X amount of days, you know, to do all the things and get into those little crevices is hard, so you do the best you can. And then you hire a really good, smart cast.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about them because, yeah, a lot of people that we've never heard of, like Al Pacino and Micheal and all that. You know, James Marsden.
Yeah.
I've never seen him in a role like this.
That's what I wanted to hear.
And, you know, I just am a huge fan of Jury Duty, and I just watched him brilliantly play himself on that show.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then, you know, this.
Yeah, I know. I drove the producers a little crazy because they were really sweating every casting choice. And I said, yeah, I don't know. What do you think of so-and-so? I go, yeah, I like him or I like her. I go, I'm thinking of this. And they go, hey, you know, you gotta go. You know, you better choose. And I ruminate a little bit, and then I go, okay, I think that person. And then hope that they were available or they even wanted to do it, you know. And I keep saying this, I'm gonna quit saying it because I get excited. You know, when I hear people talk about how great the actors are, that does it almost more for me than anything.
Really?
Yeah, because I go, yes, I knew I could do that, you know. I like Al, you know, he's been in the past, let's be honest, he's truly a legend. But he's been knocked around in the past he just has, you know, because what I like about him, he's gutsy, he just goes out there, man. But he's been, you know, knocked around a little bit saying, geez, Al, relax, you know, you're too big, or you're too, what is that thing you're doing, you know? And people, for me, I kind of enjoy it because I go, guy's got a lot of balls, man. He just goes out there and tries stuff, you know? Yeah. But I Understand, you know, people came down on it, and I was determined to not just not make that happen, but that wasn't even what it was about. That wasn't even the character, you know. So in our conversation, we had this long conversation on the phone. I knew him a little bit here and there. We'd talk about things. He was very nice about me in certain things he had seen. We talked and talked. And we talked, and then we talked about the role, and we talked about the movie, and then we started talking about acting, you know, for like 45 minutes, which was really good. And then I thought, okay, here's the last thing I'm going to tell you. I said, we talked a long time, we went through this and that. I said, here's the only thing I'm going to tell you. At the end of the day, when you and I are in a scene together, you know what it is? He goes, what? What is it like? And I go, two guys talking. That's it. No matter what we're doing, it's two guys talking. It's no more, it's no less. Because once you go through all the stuff, you go, really, it comes down to that. It's all I wanted out of him, you know? Just really this guy, believe that he's that mentor or whatever that was, you know? And just go, you know, I believe those are two guys talking about their life and they know each other. And also how quickly, like Susie and John, just like that. There was no rehearsal. We had no time for rehearsal. We had no time for any of this preparation. But if you look at them on screen, you think, oh yeah, that's what they do. And they've been doing it for years, you know.
That's Susie Nakamura.
Yeah.
She's fantastic.
She's
as a
great.
detective.
She's a smart ass too. That's why I hired her. That's why I like her.
She's a comedian.
She's funny, and that's why, you know, funny people, man, I'm telling you, they can save you a lot of times. They can, because I always look at certain, there's a guy I'm not going to mention right now. I did a podcast with him the other day, and I'm thinking, oh man, you know, the right movie, I put that guy in the right role, and he'd surprise a lot of people. I like that. I like seeing these actors sometimes go, oh man, I'd like to see him or her do that.
Right.
You know? And so, and Anna was so easy. He just, you know, no resistance, no, you know, good ideas. Came with a bunch of good ideas. I think I'd laid a lot of folks here, I can't remember, from the show. The Chinese food thing wasn't in the script, was it? I can't remember.
No.
Right? No, right? There's my fantastic Josh, prop master Josh. Remember? And, you know, also, I said to him, I said, hey, you know, you're, not you, Al, you're like 80 something. I said, if you want to get in the tub, we can figure it out. I said, no, I'll get in the tub, Mike, let's try the tub. Let's try it. So, then I thought, I had the Chinese food thing in my head, frankly. But then remember the nail thing? That was kind of last minute, you know, her doing her nails, you know. It was just, it's so fucking crazy what you do, you know? You know what I mean? It's such a nuts thing to do for a living in the first place. And then you're just sitting there going, saying things like, honey, you know, move that foot back a little bit here. It's in Al's face, you know. You know what I mean? And you're going, what am I talking about? Move your foot. Yeah, it's fun.
Was there anything in 25 days that you said, oh, I'm going to lose this, I can't get this done,
Nope.
that you had to have?
Nope.
You got it. This is a whole new LA. I mean, what you put in here, it's
Good.
very interesting.
That's what I wanted.
You didn't have to double in Toronto for this. You got to shoot right here where
Yes.
it should be.
And it's the valley, you know, but I didn't want it like Paul Thomas said, he does, that valley is so friggin' great. You know, it's like an embrace, you know, this I wanted to go, where is this world, you know? Like there's bad strip malls and, you know, but I'm weird like that. I'll drive around and I'll think,
It's cool.
yeah,
I
I
wanted to
always wonder
mention-
what goes on behind those places, you know, like those apartment buildings, like who knows what people do back there. And how many fronts there are. You know, oh man, I love that shit. Yeah, coins and stamps. Yeah.
LA's full of them. I wanted to ask you about your scene with Marcia Gay Harden because she comes in, again, it's like your relationship with Al Pacino's character there. You totally feel these people were
Yeah.
together all that time.
Yeah,
And all of that.
thank you, yeah.
And it's one scene, and then that brief moment at the end where she gets the check. But
Yeah.
it just totally works.
Thanks, and how about this? She comes in because she has a successful series, so I didn't think we were going to be able to get her, and I'd worked with her before, and I just think she's, like everyone does, knows she's great. So she said, yeah, I can do it, but I've got to come in real limited amount of time. We talked for a minute. I rehearsed for a second. Said, okay, I think we got it. Shoot. And there you go. You get that from her. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I'm glad you believe that you said, yeah, they were married at one point, you know? And maybe, you know, had things changed a little bit? Could be, you know? That was the thing with Joanna, too. She came up, she showed up, or she sent me from Poland pages of what she thought about the character, what she thought about, you know, what the relationship was and everything. And that was a long conversation we had. And, you know, I don't speak Polish, and she's limited in her English, but so that was interesting. But we talked about, you know, I don't know, how you, I mean, this hooker, not hooker, I don't know. I guess I'm a hooker then in that case, you know what I mean? Because if you look back, so I didn't want to judge, there was no judgment on it. there was no, it was just, look, these are two people who figured out a system that really works. It's great, it's good for everybody, everybody's good. It was respectful, it wasn't disrespectful, there's no judgment on it. And this guy has to compartmentalize everything and figure out, no, it has to happen on a Thursday. It has to be this because, X, Y, and Z. And she and I really talked about that a lot. And I said, I don't know, maybe you have another job. You might work too, but who knows? Maybe you have a kid and you're in this situation. And I liked it because I wanted to make a movie for, grown-ups, and you don't get to see that often anymore. And when people would say, Mike, what are you working on? I'd say, I'm in the adult film business.
Before we go, because they do have this show's showing again here in this very theater, which is exciting. I wanted to ask you about any kind of inspirations from the past you may have thought about with this character. Film noir. This has got a touch of film noir, no question about it.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, in another time, this would be Robert Mitchum playing this role.
Boy.
I could so see him doing
Yeah.
that the way you do it your way, but he's very understated and undervalued, I thought, in a lot of films. And I could see him. I could even see Bogart in this kind of role.
Bogart crossed my mind, but he was like almost too iconic. You know what I mean?
He's too.
He's too Bogart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mitchum could have
He's really interesting.
Yeah.
All right, here's a confession. Somebody will be waiting outside to arrest me, I'm sure. Remember Western Costume?
Which one?
Western Costume? There is no
Yes.
Josh, is there a Western Costume anymore?
Yes.
It's still there?
It's still there.
Oh, I thought that somebody said they took all those costumes and broke them up. No, it's still there?
It's still there.
Western Costume was a huge place.
I stole a tie from Western Costume. Yes, and the reason I stole it was I turned it over. Remember, in those days, they would stitch in the actor's name in their suits, their handmade suits and stuff. And there was one that said, Robert Mitchum. That made me go.
Wow.
Yeah. Watch, they're gonna come to my house. We're here for the tie, Mike.
I stumbled onto that one.
Yeah.
I did. Well, that's wild. How does that
Mitchum.
help you to wear something like that?
Well, I don't wear it in movies. I just wear it out. I love it. It's really beautiful.
That's very cool. Michael Keaton, I want to say to you guys, tell everybody you know to go see this movie, because this is an independently made movie and no need love. Very good job. Thank you for coming out. If you could remain seated so I can get him out of here to his next thing.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Michael, for coming out.
Thank you for having me. Guys,